Hello, welcome to Toffee TV. This is the Toffee TV podcast. This is another episode of the Nedcam podcast with Cameron from the Mighty Blues. How are you, Cameron?
Yeah, I'm all right. I've woken up after last night's snorefest, but yeah, no, I can't complain really. The sun's out, the pubs are open in some capacity, the barbers are
Yeah,
open, so can't complain. Yourself?
I'm not too bad. But before we get into Brighton, obviously we're recording this on a Tuesday morning. So yesterday was the sort of the not the end of lockdown, but we saw some pubs and stuff opening, as you said, shops and barbers. Did you get up to anything before the game?
I went into town to be honest, mate, because I've got a game of footy later with a few of the lads in goals. So I had to go
Yeah,
into town and get a pair of footy boots and a pair of shinnies and that. So I went into town, just walked around, went into the Everton shop to buy a pair of socks. They only had the third kit and the away kit one, so I'm gonna look like a melon running around
yeah,
tonight. But looked at the pubs and stuff, and they were absolutely heaving. Primark's queue was wrapped around about 350 times. And yeah, I just sort of walked around laughing at everyone queuing, thinking, what are you doing? But I
yeah,
did want a pint, to be fair, but I had to hold myself off because I knew I'd be disappointed in the night and I didn't want to be disappointed half cut.
yeah. I can't believe how long the queues was. I saw them on someone recorded it on Facebook. The queues went right around the bloody corner. I
It's mad.
got some boots myself. Went and got some coppers because I just the feel good of five-a-side being back and summer's happening, and then you go home and Everton's playing at 8:15 again, another late match, and it's just a match to ruin your day, and we all ended up
Yeah.
in bed feeling a bit shattered and a bit depressed. But what was your initial reaction to the game last night?
Well, it's that they didn't start very well at all, did it really? I mean, I was walking around town, like I said, dead happy mood, went and got me boots, everything sound, got me
Mm.
shinnies, and then goes onto my phone and sees that Gbamin's picked up another injury and he's going to be out for what was possibly at that time the end of the season. And I sort of just sat and thought, I'm not having this. There's not a chance. And then you get to 7:15 when the team news is released. No Calvert-Lewin, no Allan, no King. 5 out of 8 substitutes have not had the Premier League minute. Alex Iwobi is the only senior player, and let's be honest, he doesn't have a lot of impact when he comes on. So
Yeah,
I wasn't excited from 7:15, to be honest. I knew it was going to be a long night. And that's what it was. It was just boring, wasn't it, mate? It was just 90 minutes of just absolute bore snooze fest. It wasn't good to watch whatsoever. I think we had one shot on target and it was a James shot from the tightest angle, even for James Rodriguez, who's an exceptional footballer. It was the tightest angle. And nothing else really happened. I mean, if Brighton were half decent, they'd have won that game. They had the most of the ball. They were creating chances. They just couldn't finish the dinner. And we
yeah,
weren't threatening at all. Mina goes down, and then the tears are just fully shred, going everywhere. And I think season's done now with all of these
yeah.
injuries. But again, I didn't expect much from 7:15 when I seen the team news, and it wasn't much, was it really? I mean, it's just a poor performance again to add to the long list of poor performances this season.
I said to you last night, didn't I? I said if Brighton had any end product, and that's been their problem all season, they play really good football. I mean, they had 23 shots on. They had 23 shots and 3 on
Yeah,
target. They've got no end product, and if
yeah,
they did, God knows what the score would have finished. But I mean, I said to Baz before the game, said I'm just hoping for a 1-0. I can't see many goals being scored today, but if we can somehow get a scrappy set piece or a scrappy goal and knit the game. But listen, we didn't create enough. We just as soon as I saw that lineup, like you said, you're not feeling too confident, are you? I wanted to go back and change my Toffee picks, to be honest.
yeah. No, it wasn't. It wasn't great to see. And look, when you've got a team and you've got no fit midfielders apart from Tom Davies and you're playing 6 defenders, I hate 5 at the back anyway, let
Yeah,
alone there being 6
yeah,
defenders there. I just knew it wasn't going to be very entertaining. I knew it would be a case of just see if we get an opportunity and take that chance. Obviously, Richarlison up front on his own and isolated for the majority of the game. James dropping into defensive areas and picking the ball up, which just baffles me, absolutely
yeah.
baffles me. And that chance just never come for Everton. And like I said, it was just boring to watch, wasn't it? But listen, we've got a massive game on Friday now, and our season is in the hands of Friday. I still particularly don't think that we'll finish in a European position at the moment. I don't think we've got the consistency or the luck on our side injury wise. But yeah, again, it was just awful, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Awful to see. I mean, you're sort of looking at it and you're thinking, where's the energy? Where's the intensity? Abdoulaye Doucoure comes out of this Everton team and there's nothing. Nobody's running around. It's all good having footballers that can play footy and are decent with the ball at the feet. But when none of them can run, what's the point? It's like, we counter-attacked like was like watching walking football at
Yeah.
times. Our counter-attack yesterday. I've never seen a team as slow as Everton in the counter-attack. It was
like veterans five-a-side football, wasn't it? They were just knocking it round. You thought you're about to thought. I was thinking all the shots would start falling down in a minute. It was an absolute mess, and a lot of the time, every time going forward, it looked like a kid's school. I really don't think there was not much conviction going forward. I really don't think they had much of an idea what they were doing, to be honest. And I like Sigurdsson as a split striker, but I'm pretty sick of him playing in midfield now. I know there's not much option there, and we had to put Allgate in there yesterday. But when you're playing Sigurdsson in the centre midfield, and Hammers is in there as well, and he drops back. Sigurdsson's a similar type of player to Hammers, as if he's not a runner. He's someone you want close to his striker, and he wants runners around him, he wants legs around him, because he's technically a good footballer, but he's not like an athlete, is he? And when you've got Sigurdsson and Hammers in there, you're just taking runners out your team. Yesterday, we were far too slow.
Yeah, well, that's it. So that's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's why you don't want Hammers in front of the centre half picking the ball up, exactly. Because he's not going to take on 4 or 5 men and get it to the edge of the box. He's not that type of player. We didn't buy him as that type of player. No one's under the illusion that he is. So when you see Hammers dropping so deep and picking it up off Michael Keane, your head's in your hands thinking that's the attack gone, because he needs to be up there. What's the point in Davies and Sigurdsson playing behind Hammers if Hammers is having to drop back and pick that ball up there? You may as well just cut out the middleman and tell Davies and Sigurdsson to stay at home and just have Hammers in there. It'd be great if Hammers was that player who could pick it up, run forward with it, make a progressive run and take 4 or 5 players on and get it to a good area. But he's not that type of player. You want Hammers on the edge of the opposition box, swinging balls in or getting into areas to shoot. And when he's in front of our back line, he can't be there. And like you said, when you've got a midfield who off the ball have got about as much movement as my wallet stand that's sitting next to me here, it's not gonna go well for you, put it that way, especially when you're coming up against the Brighton team who've got players in the midfield who move. That Bissouma he had a field day yesterday. He had an absolute field day. It was comfortable for him, but I reckon it'd be comfortable for me playing against Everton at the moment, because nobody runs around, nobody moves. There's no movement there, and it's all right if we get a lucky break or we get a corner and, I don't know, Mina or Keane heads it in, or if Calvert-Lewin's on, he heads it in. That's fine. We're winning games like that, but we're just not good enough at the moment, mate, and we're not going to win many games like this. And to be honest, I'm not looking forward to Spurs whatsoever. I'm really, really not.
You mentioned Bissouma then, didn't you? He stuck out like a swollen thumb, didn't he?
Yeah.
How much did he cost them? 15 million? 10 million? Something like that? He's one of them signings that you're just thinking, why are we missing these? Players like Lamptey, James Justin, Bissouma, and then there's players out there like Sangari, who PSV managed to snap up. Why are we missing these types of players, and we're signing a Wolby for 30 million? Absolutely baffles me.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Gbamin before, and it's unbelievable. I was hearing rumours a couple of days before the game, or a day before the game, on Sunday night, and you're just thinking the luck of this lad is so unlucky. But
yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people slating him, saying, "Oh, get rid," or he's a liability, or he's made of glass. It's been described as a freak accident. It's got nothing to do with his recent injuries, has it? Is someone's fell on his knee or tackled his knee, or he's done his knee and whatever. So Vade and the club have said out. I've come out and said it was a freak injury. So what would be your next move for Gbamin? Would you think he just needs to get fit and come back strong again next season, or do you think his career's just finished? Because I've seen a lot of people that just want him gone.
No, I think we have to be very, very patient with Gbamin, and ultimately we have to stand behind him and support him. This lad isn't choosing to be injured. He's not choosing to go into training. It was described by the club as a freak contact injury, which is basically a posh way of saying somebody's hit his knee, and the club don't want to come out and go, "Oh, Ben Godfrey tackled him and he's done him in," because then it puts the pressure on Ben Godfrey then. So it's clear that he's gone in for a tackle or something's happened in training and there's been contact, and that's forced the injury. For me, the next step is just get fit and, get a full pre-season under his belt and hopefully be ready to be part of this squad going into next season. I mean, I know Carlo came out yesterday and said that his season's over, but even before that, when there was murmurs that he could be out for the season, but he might return, I think I sat down on one of our live streams yesterday and said, even if it's an injury that keeps him out for 2 weeks, I don't want to see him again this season. He's not ready to be seen again. He's not fit. He's not match fit. Don't put him in, even if he returns to fitness. Don't put him in again this season. Just let him have the week's training that he needs, months training, a little bit of a rest in the summer when all the players go to the internationals, and then get a proper pre-season under his belt. What I would say about Gbamin, I don't think it's a case of I'll sell him or get rid of this, that, and the other. Like I said, this lad must have gone through as much mental sort of issue as he has physical issue, in terms of I can't even begin to imagine how hard it is for him as a footballer to have just come back from 600 days out, literally be in training a week and pick up another injury that's going to see him out for 6, 8, 10 weeks, something like that. So as a fan base, getting on his back doesn't do anything. It's not going to bring him back. It's not going to make him fitter anytime soon. So we just have to simply stand behind him and support him and say, you know what, get back to fitness soon, and when you're back, we look forward to seeing you. Like I said, for me, even if he returns from injury before the end of the season, which I don't think he will, don't play him. Give him that rest and time. Let him have a full pre-season and go again in the summer. What I would say is Carlo Ancelotti said something really, really interesting in a press conference a few weeks back. He was asked about, completely unrelated to Gbamin, he was asked about midfielders and do Everton need another central midfielder. And I think his answer was something along the lines of, well, it depends really. If John Gbamin comes back and he can fill in that space, then no, we don't. If not, yes, we do. What I would say to that is still go out and sign that central midfielder that you've got in mind, because you can't rely on Gbamin, because ultimately, if Carlo comes out and says, if Gbamin gets back to fitness and has a brilliant pre-season and yeah, great sound, it's fit for the start of the season, and then Carlo and Marcel Brands come out and say, yeah, we didn't sign a midfielder because Gbamin's ready and he's ready to go, and then 3 weeks into the season he picks up another long-term injury, everybody's just going to be on his back as to why didn't you just sign the player? Go out, sign the player, and then Gbamin could be an extra on top of that. It also takes the pressure off Gbamin when he returns as well. But look, it's sad, mate, but it's Everton's luck, innit? It's literally, I looked at my phone yesterday, when I seen it, and I just thought, that's pure Everton. That's Everton all over. And I mean, what other team has as many injuries in as many different positions as we have at the business end of the season? What other team has a player come back from 600 days out and then gets a 10-week injury 3 days later after playing 15 minutes and in a contact injury in training? It's almost getting to the point now where we're sort of sitting there. I think Pep might have said it on his instant match reaction yesterday or on Twitter. I don't want the players training before Friday. Just don't go into Finch Farm. Just sit at home, sit on your couches and don't move, and then turn up at Goodison on Friday, because you know, it seems like we left the Palace game with Alan should have returned according to Carlo, no issue with Calvert-Lewin, no issue with Gbamin, no issue with King, and we've come into the Brighton game with all of those players out injured. So, I mean, what can you do? Players are getting injured at Finch Farm, insane, and in contact injuries. What can we do?
I mean, it's got to the point where a 23-year-old made his debut for Everton last night. And he replaced Tom Davies, who's playing in the Premier League for what, 4 or 5 years, and he's the same age. I was thinking that no way should we be left with a situation like this last night, where we had all kids on the bench and stuff. But listen, we've heard other teams moan about their injury crisis this season. It's costing leagues or whatever, and I don't think we've played the same team 2 games in a row since the start of the season. Our injury list has been so unfortunate and so unlucky. But it's honest to go out and get better replacements in. We definitely need another Doucoure, because as soon as he got took out of the team, the energy and the legs just absolutely decreased. But you know, Carlo said in his pre-match conference as well that we could see Doucoure again before the end of the season. So how much do you think we've missed him so far? And how much do you think we missed him last night, especially?
Oh, massively, mate. Absolutely massively. I mean, this is a lad who is a good footballer, good with the ball at his feet, decent passing range, but he hasn't, I don't think, it's mad to say because of how much we miss him, but I don't think I'd like, if you sat down with Doucoure now and said, do you think you've had your best season? I think he'd say no. I think he'd say, I've got to improve on my passing, I've got to improve on, he's given the ball away a couple of times in danger situations in games, but just having that player with that pure energy and that engine who doesn't stop from minute one to, I'm convinced he runs home after the game, to be honest. I'm convinced he just gets his jogging gear on and runs home. Having that type of player in the team is vital. And I said it last night after the game. I talked about Niles Nkunku, and I know Niles Nkunku hasn't got any Premier League experience and there's no guarantee he'll come on and change the game. But we could pretty much have guaranteed he'd have come on and ran around yesterday.
Yeah,
and exactly. Sometimes just having that energy and just having someone to run up opposition players. Brighton weren't worried yesterday. Brighton's defence weren't sitting there when a Wobie come on thinking, oh my God, there's a Wobie coming on. Whereas if Nkunku might have come on, they might have thought, what we do know about this lad is he'll run at us and he'll force us back and he could get in behind, so you've got to watch him. We were slow as anything yesterday, and that's what Doucoure brings when he's in this team, is he brings that energy in midfield that allows James Rodriguez to not really have that much energy. It allows his quality to be shown and his lack of energy, if you like, to just sort of be carried, if you like. It allows Tom Davies and Alan to be those types of players who are good on the ball but don't really have the off-the-ball energy. If anything, Matt, it just shows how important Doucoure is to this Everton team. Even a Doucoure who sometimes his passing mightn't be great, it shows how important just having that player that can constantly run around for 90 minutes and have that energy is, because we haven't got anybody like him.
Well, I've said before, Doucoure is not perfect. But a bad Doucoure or Doucoure on a bad day is so much better than having no Doucoure or having someone in there like like a mix of good players, like good individual players like Sigurdsson and Gomez. But when you put them all together and there's no legs in there, then the midfield is literally just it's like one big ghost. That midfield is the manager will not play anyone there. But I think at Watford, Doucoure, he shines so much. You just getting the ball and getting forward and making dangerous ones in the box. I know he didn't score a lot of goals in the last season for Watford, but he certainly scored more than he scored this season. But I think that's mainly because we've not had the greatest right hand side all season. We've seen him a lot. We've seen him most of the time covering right back, haven't we? Or sitting so deep where we should. If we had a right back, a bit more defensive cover, or a player we can get up and down, then we can start allowing him to get higher at the pitch. That's just another thing that a right back would bring. But yeah, for me, to getting Doucoure back is before the end of the season is so crucial. It could decide whether we get into Europe or not. Hopefully we do. Yeah. But even for me, I'd go out in the summer and I'd sign the next Doucoure. You know, your 20, 21-year-old. There's players out there who's similar profile, big, fast, tall, powerful, athletic. So for me, he's such a good player. But we need another player like him, because obviously, as we've seen, if you take him out the squad, then there's no legs in the squad. There's no energy.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, you need two players in every position that can fill in that void, like you said, when Doucoure, and not just for when Doucoure comes out with an injury as well. We knew Doucoure was going to pick up an injury. He played that many games this season. He played that much football. We all sat here, I'm sure yourself, Ned, I'm sure Ped, Baz, we all sat here and said, it's only a matter of time before he pulls up with an injury here, and how are we going to cope without him? And ultimately, it happened. And when it happened, we all sort of just went, knew that was coming. We knew he'd pick up an injury, a hamstring injury or something like that, because he played that much football. Same with Dom earlier on in the season. We sort of sat there and thought, Dom's going to pull up at some point here because he's played that much, and he did. Yeah. And you need to be able to have a player that doesn't just come in to replace a Doucoure when they're injured, but can come in when Doucoure's played on a Saturday and we've got the derby the next Saturday. If we've got Fulham in between on a Wednesday, you need somebody that can come in and fill that space and say to Doucoure, right, you're going to sit out of this one because you're going to get a little bit of a rest ahead of. You can't just have, in the same ways that you can't just have one player in a position. We can't bring in a player that is all right, good enough to replace Doucoure. But we need somebody that's on that same level so that they can chop and change, so that Doucoure can be on the bench for 1 week and the player that's coming in can be in the team, rather than just burning Doucoure out until he's injured and then being like, what do we do now? We've got nobody to replace him. It's
rotation. It's like we saw him, he got rested. Was it in the Rotherham game, the FA Cup, where we went a goal down, or ended up going into injury time at 1-1? And he
had to come on and score the goal.
He had to come on. It's like we shouldn't have to do that rotation. I mean, I'm sure it was like a few days or about a week before he got injured. But I think Baz said to me, Doucoure is the only player who's played every game this season, bar the one he was suspended. Like, so he's the only one who's not been out injured, and then obviously went out for almost all the season. So thanks for that, Baz.
So Baz has cursed it.
Baz is doing in Everton. So obviously we saw another player, a crucial player in my eyes, in my opinion, went out for. He's probably going to be out for another few weeks. Was it hamstring? Yerry Mina last night. Did he pull his hamstring yet?
I don't know if it was hamstring or groin.
Yeah, groin. Yeah, it might have been a groin, actually, because he overstretched it for a slide tackle, didn't he?
Yeah.
But do you think that might change the way we have to set up on Friday? Because obviously, I don't think Michael Keane looks great in a back five. We might have to put Godfrey and Holgate in there. Maybe Keane can go in the middle, but Mina's probably our best centre back, to be honest. So do you think that changes the way we might set up on Friday?
I think it does force us to make a change, certainly currently with the injuries that we've got. I mean, obviously we don't know whether Alan and Gomez will be back in the team. Hopefully they'll be back fit, but at the moment I think you're likely to see Godfrey and Keane at centre-half, with maybe Holgate back in the midfield again, because we haven't got any other option really. And to be honest, I don't know, I'd rather see that than Gomez in there, because Gomez doesn't really provide any energy whatsoever either. He's not a player who runs around off the ball or does tremendous amounts of work. And Alan in recent weeks hasn't been as good as he was at the start of the season, because he's come back from a long-term injury. So I think it probably does force us, but I do think Carlo at the moment seems to like that 5 at the back formation with the wing backs. And look, Tottenham are a very, very good team, so it's going to be a very, very difficult game for them.
Yeah, you mentioned it before about Nkunku. I mean, there's a player that might allow us to make sort of a change, maybe push Dean back to left back or put him in left mid just to get some more runners in there. I don't know what it would do for us defensively. But on the other side, we had Coleman. Coleman's been brilliant the past 2 games. I don't know. I know he's playing wing back, so he's not been. We're not using him that much. He's not getting up and down the pitch, like right up and down the pitch, the whole length up and down. I don't know if he'd be fit enough to play Tottenham on Friday. Whether we're overusing him, obviously. I think the most we've seen him play was like 3 games at the start of the season. Ended up getting injured again. So I don't know whether he can keep playing that position, or we'll have to eventually make a change. Maybe put Iwobi in there on the right. But yeah, for me, we need to think of something where we can make a change and get some more legs in. Maybe put an extra man in midfield just to try and outnumber Tottenham, because Tottenham do play 5 in the middle, don't they? And they're really not a possession team, but they're a team that can certainly catch you on the break. And Jose Mourinho is that team. He's that sort of manager that will let the other team have possession and get you on the break. You know, he does that so well, but we do that as well. So it'll be interesting whether, because we're at home, if he'll let us have the ball more, and we know what happens when we're in possession and we can't create anything. We get done on the break, which Jose Mourinho does so perfectly. So it's strange to think how it's going to plan out. Obviously, we've beaten him twice already. Whether we can do it for the 3rd time, I don't know. Especially with the injuries we've got. Hopefully Pickford's back. Dominic Calvert-Lewin might be back, and Allen. But are you feeling confident on Friday? Do you think we can go and get the win?
I don't know, to be honest, mate. Tottenham, as much as Tottenham have thrown games at recent times, and the Newcastle game, and other games this season, I just think they've got a lot of quality in their team. The likes of Son, the likes of Kane, even the likes of Lamela, who can come on and hurt teams. And Everton at the moment don't seem to have any energy or anything about them whatsoever to go and beat the teams at the bottom end of the table, never mind the teams fighting for Europe. I think this is a season-defining game, to be honest, certainly in terms of European qualification. So Everton have to go out and win it, or have to go out and perform. But I'm confident. I'm not, mate. I'm never confident at home this season at the moment, because we're dreadful. We're absolutely dreadful. Especially coming up against the team who, you look at Tottenham the other day against Newcastle. Newcastle got 1-0 up. Yeah. Within 2 or 3 minutes, Tottenham have turned it round. Harry Kane's turned it round, a couple of goals. You have to ask yourself, do Everton get back into that game? Have Everton got that passion, that energy, that spirit to pick ourselves back up and get back into that game? Or do we sort of just sit off and let it happen? I don't know. I'm not confident whatsoever, if I'm being honest, mate. Yourself?
I suppose it's down to who scores first. And on Friday, I think if we nicked one, we could sit back and try and ride it out. And if they nicked one, it's typical Jose Mourinho, part the bus and ride it out. So we're so inconsistent and so predictable, but unpredictable. Knowing us, we'll probably go win the next 2 games. I'm not maybe being a bit overconfident, but that's us. We'll go beat the big teams, and then we'll struggle to beat teams like Brighton and Palace. But
yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
Just we've got to keep counting down the days of the summer, to be honest, and get this dreadful season over with, and look forward to get some summer signings in. And obviously, hopefully, we'll start seeing some activity over at Bramley Moor. Are you excited to see the first shovel in the ground?
Yeah, obviously, mate. I think it's massive. Again, very emotional time. Obviously, when the stadium news was announced, because you're sort of thinking, no, it's the ticking time bomb now on how long we've got left at Goodison. I mean, I haven't been at Goodison for over a year, and to think that we might only have 2 or 3 years left there is a horrible feeling. But Bramley Moor is desperately needed for the club, for the future of the club, for the aspirations and ambitions of the club. So yeah, I can't wait myself. I really can't. Do Everton need to improve and become a better team going into Bramley Moor? Yes, we do. Hopefully we're some form of challenger, whether it be for Champions League or titles or whatever. But yeah, I just can't wait. It's been a long, long time coming, 4 or 5 years in the pipeline. The presentation from Everton was fantastic, and it left no unanswered questions, and that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted the situation where the government and the council couldn't say, but what about this? And we go, we've been sipped up there. We needed every question answered, and it has been. So I can't wait, mate. I can't wait to see what the stadium's like. But I know from a lot of the comments on our streams, I'm sure yourselves have had it, don't worry about the stadium, worry about the team at the moment. So hopefully we can be a better team going into Bramley Moor.
Well, we saw with Tottenham Hotspur, didn't we? they were never really to my eyes, they were never really a big club. Nobody really was bothered about Tottenham. They were sort of the same boat as us when we were under David Moyes. We always sort of finish around the same places in the table. And then it's sort of like they had this new stadium, and they're all like, they're friends with NFL. They had this big documentary on Amazon Prime, and it's suddenly like Tottenham haven't won anything. I know they got to a Champions League final, and Pochettino sort of revolutionised the way Tottenham played, and they made him into a really good team. But it's like Tottenham have become suddenly this much bigger club over time into this big, nice new stadium. Do you think that's something that can be done for Everton, or do you think it's got to be backed up by the way we play? We obviously need to go win something before we move out of Goodison Park, because it's been far too long for us. Of course, 26 years, 27 years now. So do you think it'd be so important for us to get to maybe win a trophy before we leave Goodison, or do you think we just got to back this new stadium up by obviously making improvements in the way we play, getting the Champions League, and hopefully that can make us into a bigger club?
Well, a bit of both, to be honest with you, mate. I mean, Carlo was asked a few weeks back what's the most important for the club's future, a trophy or Champions League, and he said, well, for the project and for the future, it's, Europe, he said. But for the fans, I understand it's a trophy, and not been alive 22 years. I've been going to Goodison over a decade consistently as a season ticket holder, and I've never seen Everton win a trophy. To think that we could leave Goodison without a trophy is heart-wrenching, mate. It's absolutely heartbreaking. So I think it's a bit of both of you to say, again, look, it's as an Everton fan at the moment, I had this argument when we were still in the quarterfinals, people saying, would you rather top 6 or win a cup? And it's like, win a cup all day, top 4 or win a cup all day. Unless we're winning the league, I want to win a cup. Even second, I want to win a cup. But you then sort of think, well, for the progression in the club and improving and becoming a Champions League sort of team, we don't want to be moving into Bramley Moore, a mid-table side, losing to Fulham at home. No disrespect to Fulham. We want to be able to be consistent and being up in the top ends of the table. But I suppose also you want to be winning trophies as well. I mean, for all how good Tottenham Stadium is and how brilliant they were, and they got to a Champions League final, they've still won nothing for a long, long time. Not as long as Everton, but still for a long, long time. So football's about trophies. Ultimately, it's about winning things. It's about winning silverware, and Everton are desperate for that. But I also think that we need to build this squad, because ideally we want to be going into Bramley Moore as a challenger, as a team that everybody looks at and goes, watch out for Everton this season. I said this morning on our stream, pundits are saying about Everton, I'm not worried about them, they'll fall off, and we're all jumping on it going, what's this, what's that, why is he saying that? But it all ends up to be true at the end of the day. Look at recent weeks. So I think it's a bit of both, but for me, we need a trophy before we leave Goodison, mate. I need a trophy as an Everton fan before we leave Goodison.
Well, we're about similar age, aren't we? Early 20s. So it's so strange. It's like Everton's become a completely different club over time. Obviously, we listen to our parents, and it's like, we've seen so many trophies with such a massive club. But like my glory days with David Moyes, I really miss the David Moyes days. Like the late tens and the early tens. It was so nostalgic. But
that's because you're seeing it at West Ham now.
Yeah, but it's like, but our parents look back and think like, the David Moyes era was rubbish. We were just mid-table all the time. We had no money. We didn't win anything. It's like, get out. We were brilliant. It was so good to watch us. We were so stable, and and even though we were skins, but obviously we've not seen us win a trophy, and it's crazy thinking that we're meant to believe that we're some sort of big club, and obviously we do believe that. We know we're a big club with our history, but when you've not seen us win a trophy, it's so disappointing. It's like, why aren't we winning trophies then? It's been 25 years without a trophy, and we're meant to be some big club. So and that's obviously not. I'm not saying, obviously I know we're a big club, but then you look at other fans that obviously people look at us and think Everton. You see these people on Twitter moaning us all the time, saying, why do Everton think there's some sort of big club? Because we've not won a trophy. Obviously, our generation haven't seen us win a trophy. We look at us as the David Moyes team, the mid-table team. So that trophy for me was so much more important. But obviously, you said before about getting Europe. We're going to get Europe and then moving to the stadium. Then it needs to be backed up by Europe every season, and then getting the Champions League and sustaining it like Tottenham have done over the past 3 years. So.
Well, that's it. I mean, Everton could finish in the Europa League this season, could finish in a European competition, but it wouldn't make us a consistent European challenger. It just means that we'd ended up finishing in a European position in a bad league, in a bad season for a lot of teams, and we'd taken advantage of that. Wouldn't mean that, right, we've finished in the Europa League now, which means we are a European challenger every year, because we could go and finish 11th again next season. We have to get that consistency, and that consistency is part of the future and something that's desperately needed. And that's what we had with David Moyes, and that's why we enjoyed those times so much, because we hadn't seen league titles, we haven't seen FA Cups. We've only seen Everton being consistently decent, and at the moment, I'd take Everton being consistently decent, because we're consistently bad at the minute.
Yeah, exactly. To finish off, then, what's your score predictions for Friday?
Yeah, look, I'm not excited for it. I hope to be about 4 points down before kick-off, to be honest with you. But I'll never predict Everton to lose, so I'm gonna go with 2-2 draw, goal scoring draw.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really not confident. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm not feeling too confident. I don't want to be too optimistic. I said before, it's whoever gets the first goal. So I'm just gonna go for Everton 1-0. But yeah, we saw it was a 9-goal thriller last game against Tottenham, but I can't see that happening again. So I'm going to go 1-0 Everton, hopefully off a set piece or something. But I said before, isn't it? It's we're so predictably unpredictable that we'll probably go and win these two next big games. I'd say next two big games. Arsenal and Tottenham, I think they're both rubbish. They're both crap, but the big teams anyway. But we'll probably go and beat them. But yeah, there you go. Thanks for listening to the Toffee TV podcast. Cameron, thanks again for joining me. Go and check out Cameron's channel, The Mighty Blues, on YouTube. It's brilliant. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you later.